Hello, and welcome back to Comedy Means Business. For decades, Just for Laughs wasn't just a comedy festival, it was the comedy festival. The king-making platform where stand-ups got discovered, careers were launched, and the global comedy business took its cues. It was the place where a short set could change your life, and where every agent, exec, and comic worth their salt came to do business. What began in 1982 as a two-day French language event eventually transformed into a weeks-long affair, bringing together the best in comedy from all over the world, both established stars and artists just beginning their journeys. The flagship festival, with its New Faces program for comedian discovery, took place in Montreal, with numerous satellite events transpiring the world over the course of any given year. Over the course of its existence, Just for Laughs contributed to the rise of dozens upon dozens of luminaries, from Kevin Hart and Amy Schumer, to Ali Wong and Pete Davidson, to Jimmy Fallon, Rami Youssef, and Kumail Nanjiani. In the last decade alone, JFL has continued to impress with its selections, giving an early spotlight to future hack star Hannah Einbinder, Shane Gillis, Tim Dillon, overcompensating Benito Skinner, The Daily Show's Dulce Sloan, Abbott Elementary's Quinta Brunson, Tony Awards honoree Alex Edelman, and at least 10 recent additions to Saturday Night Live. Still, if Just for Laughs once seemed indomitable, cracks in the festival eventually came to show, between a leadership scandal and a financial collapse informed in part by the pandemic. A rise in the career-building power of social media called into question the need for any one festival to build oneself up. And by 2024, this leading comedy institution was filing for bankruptcy protection. But cut to a year later, and there's a cautious optimism in town about where the festival is headed. Following its acquisition by Sylvain Parent-Bédard's Quebec-based Comedy Ha, the festival's flagship Montreal event returns for the first time in 2 years on July 16th. Here to discuss the past and promising future of Just for Laughs, we have three of the organization's leaders: JFL President and CEO Parent-Bédard, Executive Producer, Head of Development and Creative Strategy Spencer Griffin, and Head of Programming and Talent Nick Brazao. Welcome, everyone.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. So we're now days away from the first edition of Just for Laughs Montreal that we've seen in a couple years. How are you feeling?
Great. Looking forward to it.
Can you feel anything?
A bit nervous, but really looking forward to it. I think that the job that the team has done since last year is amazing. It's a first step. It's not where we would like to be maybe in 3 years' time, but it's a great cornerstone to rebuild it and to relaunch it. I'm really proud of the teamwork that has been done in the last year, because it's so much bigger than I thought. I've discovered all this Anglophony world all over the world, and I know that people want to come, fans want to come, sponsors are back, government is back, and talent are there. So I'm looking forward to it.
What about for you both? How are you feeling in the lead up?
I'll go ahead. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling a lot of anticipation. I've lived through 14 festivals, so having this first one back after a year off was, was an interesting year. And to be a 1 week ahead of it happening, there's a lot of excitement to see how it's going to play out. And I think that we have so many of the pieces in place that we're really happy with. And now it's just, all of the work still needs to be done. So there's like that kind of, like an interesting form of butterflies, if you will. But yeah, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of anticipation.
Maybe you all could tell us a little bit about your plans this year and what you're most looking forward to with this festival.
Let's go, Spencer. Come on.
Yeah, I think this festival particularly, it's so wonderful to be back after a year off. This year that's very new is we're filming Roast Battle Canada for the first time during the festival, which is, we've done multiple seasons, but they've been separate from the festival. So that's very fun, where we're bringing in 30 Canadian comedians to participate in the festival at the same time as we're filming Roast Battle Canada, which is very thrilling, and that's brand new. And that's just one of the many sort of new programs that we're doing since Sylvain has taken over the company in July, I think, of last year, June of last year. We're also starting a new program called New Faces Writers, because we've done New Faces for, Nick, 25 years or something? I don't even know. I should know.
Wow.
Yeah, longer than I've been here. It got started in the 90s at some point. Their records date back. I mean, I think at that point they were using like carbon paper and, filing hard copies of things into file folders places. But I mean, goes so back as far as back as 1998, I think was like the first official New Faces show. And even before that, there were some years of like showcases, although I'm not sure if they were specifically called New Faces yet.
So coming back with new faces, stand up, new faces characters, new faces creators, and adding new faces writers is just going to be is really exciting, and I think that's kind of the most fun part of like getting to showcase these and discover and take part in that discovery of all of this new talent is just such a like exciting and thrilling and just one of a kind part of the festival that you can't kind of get anywhere else.
Totally. Sylvain, to back up a little bit, you just took over control of Just for Laughs last year, as we've discussed. Can you talk about how you came to that and what inspired you to take this on?
Yeah, but in fact, 25 years ago, I wanted to launch a Just for Laughs festival in Quebec City, and at that time it was impossible. So I decided to launch my own festival in French for the Francophonie, working with France, Belgium, Switzerland, French Canada. And I always wanted to come to Just for Laughs, the Anglophonie side of the comedy industry. And it's amazing how big it is, how great it is, and I always wanted to do something, and I had a lot to learn. So when the sad thing happened to the whole company, that was an opportunity for us to get on board. We finally got it, but it is a lot bigger than I thought. As I said, it's a great playground with a lot of opportunity for Just for Laughs organization, but to work also with Canadian talent and talent coming from all over the world, because Montreal is a great door to reach the American market also. I've discovered it when I went to Australia, when I went to UK. It's a
Mm-hmm.
great opportunity for the talent to go through Montreal to reach the American market. So I don't know if I answer well to your question, but this is how I get there. And now it's a new challenge, and it's a great challenge. So I was a bit, I wouldn't say bored about doing what I've done for 25 years, but now I feel that my passion, and with the new team that we have built, a kind of new organization with the old team of Just for Laughs, the new team of Comedia, all together, we have a new way of working, and hopefully we're going to adapt to the new world of comedy nowadays.
So, what do you think made your company, Comedy Ha, like a good company to take this challenge on and to spearhead this?
I would say love of comedy, passion for comedy. This is really important. It's not just doing business, but we need to be passionate about art, about comedy, about content, especially. And also, it's a kind of, and this is the vision we have with the new company. We don't want to work in silo. We want to work with our value, with our culture, our entrepreneurial view of what is comedy, and then try to work on different sector. So we are a festival, yes, but this is the cornerstone of our company. We do television, we do movie, we do live tour, we do content. So we try to be a 360 company all year round, making business deal with artists and talent, and trying to work as a whole team, not different sector, not working all together with the same vision.
Mm-hmm. Nick and Spencer, you're both longtime veterans of the festival. I'm curious if there's a moment from a past festival that kind of crystallizes why you're still here and what why you're doing the work that you're doing. Is there a particular moment from a past edition of JFL that left a real mark on you?
I'd say over the years, there's probably a series of moments. Typically, the New Faces shows are a big highlight. I mean, I think that seeing that relevant of a showcase happen in front of industry, in front of fans, and really see having an inflection point in someone's career sort of play out in front of your eyes is a really exciting thing to watch. So I think having those showcases when New Faces shows have finished and then the crowd's been piling out onto the street in Montreal, and there's reps there congratulating their clients, and there's clients that just know that they just crushed a set and got seen by people, and then you see network executives being able to introduce themselves and say, hey, you're so funny, I can't, really great job. It's like seeing that all kind of happen at the same time is, I think, a moment that's happened, every more than once, and that we try to recreate every year. And I feel like that is the kind of thing that we chase when we are trying to put the pieces in place at the festival. So New Faces is always a highlight. I'd say if I had to pick one, that would probably be it.
And for you, Spencer?
Yeah, there's two for me. I vividly remember Shane Gillis's New Face set, and he did so well, and the crowd just went crazy. Both the crowd downstairs, the local fans, and the industry crowd. And it was just very clear that Shane was going to be famous in some way very soon. That's how well the set went, and that was the kind of the influence in the room there. That happens almost every year, but that one in particular. And then the other one was, I was much younger. I was in my 20s, just a couple years ago, in my 20s. And I went to the bar because I saw Michael Schur, the showrunner of Parks and Rec and a bunch of other amazing shows. And he was sitting at the bar having a water. And I just sat next to him and I ordered a water. And I got to have a conversation with just this, one of the best comedy writers ever, because he was just in Montreal at the comedy festival. And that is not a thing you get to do any other time of the year, but that because it's such a gathering place for amazing comedy people, I got to have an hour-long conversation with kind of one of my comedy heroes, because he was just there and had nothing else to do other than hang out for a little bit.
That's awesome.
So
I got my opportunity when he was out on the strike lines. That was when I took my shot to get to know Mike Schur.
Yeah,
it's a true icon.
It's true. Yeah.
$2025, as we've discussed, is a comeback year for Just for Laughs. After filing for bankruptcy protection amid a continually evolving and increasingly challenged economic landscape. Sylvain, could you maybe talk about maybe it would be great for you all to talk about how you see the challenges of running a major festival of any kind in our post-pandemic era, and how did the pandemic, in your point of view, expose certain vulnerabilities in JFL that needed to be shored up?
Yeah, but for sure, time has changed. Sponsor it's harder to close some deal with sponsor, but if you do offer them good things, they're going to be there. Same thing for the government. The government helped a lot during the pandemic with special funding. Now those funding has disappeared. The consumer, the fans behavior has changed a lot. Also, people buy at the last moment. So I think you have to be an agile organization. You have to be a lean organization also, with passionate people who can move quickly. We don't want to be dinosaur. If I can say so, Kodak has been a dinosaur when the photography industry was changing. We need to update our point of view, the way of doing things, the way of producing content and also distributing content. So those are the main, I would say, the main challenge that we have to. And when yes, there is the pandemic, but when an organization has been through a bankruptcy law protection, also to get the trust back from the industry, it is something that you have to have resilience and patience. But what it is so strong with Just for Laughs, this is a so well-known, well-appreciated brand, and a great brand all over the world. People want to come back. Government want to come back. Sponsor want to come back. I feel that talent wants to come back. And we've sold so far more than 100,000 tickets. So it means that fans want to be there also. So it's going to be a great festival, not the one we would like to do because we have a vision, but it's a great start to rebuild it.
So it wasn't a situation of like tough conversations with talent representatives or buyers or anything like that. Like, were they pretty much on board from the outset? Like, you tell us you're going to be there and we're going to be there, that kind of thing.
Everyone was so ecstatic that it was coming back and that it was in the hands of somebody who was passionate about comedy, that any awkwardness was quickly transferred into like excitement and joy, because the love of JFL is so big, and the love of the brand. And I think so many people like myself, I was going to JFL for, I don't know, 7-8 years before I started working there, that people have such a fondness in their hearts for the experience. If you've ever gone, I think you have, it feels like summer camp. And so that was the reaction, was, oh my God, I'm so glad you're back. That's the first reaction we got from everybody. It wasn't a business conversation. It was a passion conversation.
Yeah.
I was really surprised about it. Everywhere Spencer and Nick brought me to, it was, oh, guys, thanks, you're back. We want to be there. We missed it so much. So this was a bit surprising for me, how much Just for Laughs was loved by the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's a testament to the intent of the festival too. It's like I think being able to travel around with Sylvain this year and introduce him to the English speaking world and introduce him to the stakeholders that we deal with, of artists and artist representation, and, you know, being able to just go in front of them and present ourselves and present the fact that we want to do good business with people, and that at the base of it, we're trying to create platforms to advance their clients' careers and to create some of the memories that we've just described in terms of what kept us coming back as employees of the company, because there's something that's great about a mission that's bigger than festivals are great, because it's a collection of shows, and it's a collection of so many layers of everybody coming to the same place to agree that this is an experience that we all want to contribute to. So it does take us, there's a certain amount of, hey, well, what happened? We heard some headlines, and what is the new way, and how are you changing things, and what's going to be different? But once you get beyond that, it's like, oh yeah, we really missed it, and everybody wants it to come back, and they want it to succeed, and they want to be supportive in it in whatever way they can.
I wouldn't say that we had to scale it down, but we had to think about it on a new way, and we had to make sure that we wouldn't lose money if we want to have a good health. And for sure, now I can tell you, July 10th, that we won't lose money this year. So this is a great thing. But I know that many mistake has been done in the past. Many different festivals, like the one in London, UK, was really hard. They lose a lot of money. So I'm not there to judge what has been done, because I wasn't there to take the decision. And they had the problem also with the pandemic. But we wanted to centralize or concentrate on Montreal. I think Montreal is the most important thing of the company, the Montreal Festival. This is the cornerstone. So we wanted to do it good and great, and not so huge, not so wonderful. But what I mean by that, I mean that we have to be good. We have to be a place where the talent likes to come, to be discovered, or to have some fun with their industry, and where the fans are going to find a great diversity. Like this year, we don't have an arena show. I'm not sure it was important to have an arena show. If we can have one, we can have one. But the most important thing is to make people discover new talent and what it is coming for the following years in the industry, and produce also good content to broadcast it, hopefully all over the world. So we didn't have to scale it down. We had to be lean and make the good decision for the stabilization of the organization.
What role does kind of televised stuff play in? You mentioned the role it plays in the broader parent company, I guess, of Just for Laughs, but what role does that play here, and does digital play here in terms of the festival at this point? Like whether that's offshoot specials or other kinds of content.
Well, in Montreal, we're filming a lot. So we're doing roast battle during the week, and we're also filming galas for CBC. We're filming a comedy special at the end of the week for Netflix. We always film our new faces of comedy and then share those on our social media platforms to make sure that those artists get seen by all over the world. And then we also, a lot of artists film their own shows, and we help support that effort too, because we know how important it is for those artists to be able to capture their content during the festival. So while I would, there's just so much of comedy is on the internet now. And I think that's just going to be an important part of everything we do
Yeah.
all the time. So we don't even call it TV like a TV department. We don't have a TV department. It's just everybody's working together all the time, which is very different from before.
And it is important about television. We, I'm saying television, even though we don't have a TV department, but France is back, Switzerland is back, Belgium are back, all the Francophonie is back, and we have also Spanish content. So
Yeah.
it's a multiple language festival. This is really a special thing in the world. I don't know if there is other place in the world where you can have 3 or 4 languages spoken. So it's great because when you can create different languages, different content for different country all over the world, and you can digitalize it. I hope it's the good word to talk about it, but it's a part of the new way of doing comedy all over the world, and it helps a lot to sell ticket for worldwide tour sometime, or Canadian tour, or British tour, or French tour also. So it's quite important to do some content for the digital media.
So in that sense, is the broader industry impact of Just for Laughs and what you're seeing that do in terms of the impact on the launch of comedians' careers, would you say that's as important to you as a metric of success for the festival as like local reach and how many tickets you're selling on the ground?
Yeah, I think what we're trying to do in this new model is create a model that feeds. Sylvain said 360 approach, but it's also kind of like a 365 approach. Like festivals that exist for 10 days are very difficult on a lot of ways, and you can measure them by success, and I can have a warm, fuzzy feeling about a live showcase of a New Faces show. But if we can record that in a way that comedians really love, edit it really well and make them look really good, distribute that on our platforms that have followers that gain eyeballs and help them gain followers, and then that can feed the business for the rest of the year and can lead to hopefully more of an organic growth of touring properties and being able to do it again. And then you see the value as people are trying to define the value in an entertainment industry that has changed so much in the 15 years that I've been at the company, and will help inform how we can move with broadcasters or continue to lean into our own digital channels. But of course, if we can record New Faces, they can get all of that organic in-person experience, and then that can be supplemented by, we release it somewhere in the fall, and then that gets a bump online and they get seen by, and I think we started to see that in 2023 when we started releasing those clips, and we see people like Leslie Liao and Derek Stroop and the like, and we're getting, hey, our Just for Laughs TikTok has 1 point however many million followers, and that got 15 million views. Like, we're starting to see numbers that we hadn't seen before, because quite honestly, we hadn't thought of it. Like, our old model was, we filmed New Faces, we cared so much about the live show, there was so much intrinsic value in that, but we didn't find a way to help that manufacture a new way of doing business that can hopefully feed something new. So I think you're right on point in terms of how can you take a 10-day festival or a 6-day festival in Toronto or something in Vancouver and make it live a bit more in this, digital landscape where we're all really connected across the world. As much as we're trying to bring everybody to Montreal, we're also trying to take ourselves and all the comedians here everywhere else so that can help them tour Australia, tour London, tour the States if you're Canadian, tour across Canada if you're from the rest of the world. So the more that we can create those connections digitally from the in-person batch kind of producing form that a festival can take when you do it well, can only add to it and hopefully make a more sustainable model that can have future success.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of these new programs. We're doing New Faces Writers in partnership with Rob Mack's company More Better. We're doing JFL Shorts, JFL Pilots with Will Arnett's company, and we're going to be doing development deals with those artists in order to develop new media properties with them, likely television shows, and going to take those out. So that way we're working with artists all year round in various mediums. And I think that's also the dream of, having the JFL brand mean discovery and development and being a festival all year round. So it's not just the 10 days in the summertime, but that we're having fun and delivering comedy all year round through a variety of mediums.
In that line of discussion, like, what is the place of these other international sort of satellite events in the roster at this point? I mean, the festival kind of came back first with a couple of international shows, right? Before we're getting to this Montreal show, we had a few others. And how do you conceptualize those other events throughout the year in terms of like how they play into the success of the overall initiative?
Yeah, I don't want to speak for Sylvain. I mean, I can talk from my experience working on programming a lot of those. I mean, having Sydney, and some of them happened before Montreal just because of the timing of the sale and sort of getting things back on their feet and all of that. But like having festival footprints in Canada, in Vancouver, in Toronto, having a festival with a great partnership in Sydney, I think is very key for Laughs to have those tent poles that allow you that fluidity to bring people elsewhere, because it gives us the ability to, and we've created TV in Sydney for Australian and New Zealand broadcasters that has allowed us to do kind of like a New Faces Australia type thing. And then also we can bring, US comics that are looking for exposure in that market. So it's like anytime you can connect the dots of a few layers of things via a festival, I think it's a very useful tool for comedians, again, for expanding as we're trying to ultimately create a platform that allows them to go through our conduit to these places. So if you can do it via the Just for Laughs brand, via a festival that we've put on its feet and, worked with good local partnerships, then that's all the better. And I think we do those through, again, partnerships. Like in Vancouver, we partnered with a festival that was in existence for, I think, 17 years before we signed on, and we produce it with them. And each festival is going to be its own DNA. Sydney's going to be way different than Vancouver. Vancouver is a very artist-friendly festival. It happens in February. It's a real great experience for artists to come over there and enjoy one of the most beautiful cities in the world, in my opinion, if you get to go to Vancouver. And the comedy fans there are great. And you get like a completely different vibe than Montreal, which is this connector. And that's why we're starting with Montreal, is like hopefully that feeds to all of these other things. But Toronto can take on the DNA of Toronto. We can infuse the local community there. It's the entertainment capital of Canada. All of the venues are different. All of the stakeholders are different. And I think that it's, to our benefit to be able to have that type of network to be able to take people through to help grow ultimately their careers. And if we can just be that additive piece because of the fact that it feels cohesive by leveraging the brand and by leveraging festival expertise and by leveraging strategic partners, then that's a win for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we've talked about the New Faces program, a cornerstone of Just for Laughs, which is known for its ability to break stars across generations. We've also sort of alluded to the digital era now, where social media plays such a big part in comedians' careers and launching early on. I would love to hear you discuss how comics have historically been selected for New Faces and how you've had to adjust or not for the world we're living in now, where comedians can blow up on their own on TikTok or YouTube, or at the very least, that's a big part in helping them to launch their careers.
Yeah, it's a really interesting, evolving thing for sure. Like the comedy world has changed. Like when New Faces started, I think late night was maybe the only other kind of platform that people could have to be discovered. I think that how do we find it? I mean, we do extensive showcasing from January until now. And we've just, completed our decisions recently, and we're going to be, announcing the lineup on the 21st. So it's extensive searches all across the US. We went all across Canada. This year, we did most of our rest of world search mostly digitally. I mean, thankfully, in a digital age like this, it allows the search to be that much broader and that much easier because you don't have to necessarily physically go places. Scouting of other festivals, finding our place within the global footprint of, Melbourne's and Sydney's and London's and Edinburgh's and all of those things to be able to have that kind of network of talent. And then ultimately, yeah, the timing of you want a new face to be right at that, like ready for the inflection point, ready for the opportunity, primed to make those connections. Because if they're going to be introduced to a network executive or have another opportunity, that they have more than the 6-minute showcase set that they're going to display on stage, but that there's so much more there that they can, take Rami Youssef and turn him into his own show about his life, or, take Michael Rowland and plug him into something like Animal Control and have him take the next step. So it's like, do we now, because people can have a phone in their pocket and film themselves and find an audience very easily through understanding how to leverage those tools without needing a festival? Of course, like it's changing. There's other things that exist in the marketplace where you can do a set on somebody else's platform and get a pop online. And so it changes, I guess, the rubric of when is the right time, what makes for a new face, when are you past it? That's always like kind of a interesting question, and I kind of rely on the talent to sort of let us know when they feel past it, and on the managers in particular that are talking to their talent to be like, if they still value it and they still feel like they're at a point where they can get benefit from it and they're still not a household name, that I think you try to like have it ends up being case by case as you're picking your 30 stand-up comedians like we did this year from all over Canada and the US and internationally. And then we're trying to put together, 3 shows with 10 people on them. And we want to hit all the different possible notes that an industry member or that a fan could see of them on stage, so that, we're really being representative of the comedy world at large. And we're going to miss a, certain comic that's going to blow up from a different thing. And hopefully we'll still have a place for them at our festival or in another way, and that we can still somehow work with them. And but I think we're still able to do a lot of nice things for people that we can select.
Yeah, very well put. Well, I can't wait to hear how things turn out this year. Sylvain, Nick, Spencer, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Comedy Means Business can be found on Apple, YouTube, and Spotify. Please rate, review, and subscribe. Next week, we'll be back with an episode on comedian Joe List and his manager, Chris Burns. Thank you very much.